My name is Joanne Lawrence, and I teach global citizenship and corporate social responsibility here at HALT. I've been teaching at HALT since 2008. I actually come to HALT from a long corporate background where I was in charge of corporate communications, investor relations, and a head of an organizational change initiative for a merged pharmaceutical company. I was with Beecham in London and merged with SmithKline. And so I've been interested in this topic throughout my career. Because in fact one of my first issues I had to deal with was apartheid in South Africa. As far as my background, it includes corporate and management. I've also been involved in guest lecturing at INSEAD and was part of a global research study that was done on corporate responsibility that yielded some very interesting information which we shared at a major conference in 2007. That, for me, if I start from where my career began to that point, showed how far the subject had come and just how much it is in really management, the top of the mind at this point, which is very exciting since I always thought it should be there. But at the end of the day, it's come full circle for me. I think teaching at HALT, why I really enjoy it is, especially for a subject like this, the perspectives of our students are amazing. You can have a discussion on human rights, on labor, on ethics, and they bring from both the developed country and developing country perspective issues that they learn from each other, and quite honestly, I learn from them as well, which is always very exciting. It's how do we integrate all this wonderful information and knowledge to allow us to take business forward. I think that as far as what the objective or what I'm trying to achieve in the course, I think it's taking, introducing the students to the subject so that they see corporate responsibility is not just a nice to do or do the right thing kind of issue. It's actually right for the business. There is a strong business case for it. It is about creating what I call sustainable businesses, and I'm defining sustainability not just based on the environment, but these are sustainable businesses for the long term because they have learned how to manage human, financial, and natural resources from the environment in a very effective manner. And that to me is about long-term profit maximization. It's about taking the global power of a corporation to actually help raise standards for everybody. I think it's that win-win-win, and I do think it's very possible. That's the message I want the students to take away. I think corporate responsibility also in a business school, it crosses every discipline. It's not just, it's embedded in marketing, it's embedded in the supply chain, it's embedded in finance, like where do companies invest their money. It's in HR, you know, how do you teach ethical decision making and how employees act with each other on a day-to-day basis. It starts with the individual and it really moves up to collective accountability and responsibility. I think we're all in this together, and I think that's again another message I would like the students to take away from our course. The corporation's role today in society is it's pervasive. It has more power than some governments. It's larger than some countries. There is an enormous impact it does have and can have for either negative repercussions or for positive. So I think for me, with my background, having been in the corporation, having dealt with stakeholders, having dealt with senior management, investors, and being able to then say, in the organizational behavior, how do you change or help enhance behavior that helps you to deliver strategy? If I take those pieces and put them together, and now I'm looking at how do you integrate ethical behavior within corporations, it's a very solid platform. They have all come together for me, and I really enjoy the students. I think having students with such a diverse background, as opposed to either perhaps teaching in just a less diverse atmosphere, it just enriches the dialogue. And at the end of the day, this is the world all students are going out into. I mean, it's global, it's smaller, it's asking for more greater transparency, because by golly, if you don't do the transparency, people are going to still find out. So it just behooves us all to, it's really about creating trust. It's trust with all stakeholders. And again, it's another lesson I'm hoping that the students take away from the course. So in corporate social responsibility, we are dealing with some of the major issues of our day. We're talking about things like human rights in different countries. We're talking about labor conditions. We're talking about the environment. You know, what role do companies have, again, in managing these three sources of resources, really, as far as taking their companies forward. The issues have become bigger, it seems. There seems to be a lot more at stake. And what does it actually mean to be a global citizen today? And that's really what the course tries to address. And not just helping to define it, but then given what our understanding of it is, and answering the question, do companies have a responsibility? Then saying, how do we actually do it? What does it look like when it's working? What are the mistakes one can make? How do we integrate it into things like strategic planning, into supply chain management, into human resources? Because it does cross all the different functions. So I think it's the what is it, how do we define it, what does it look like, and then how do we do it? And why should we care? So I think those are the fundamental questions. And today what I'm really very excited about doing is speaking with one of the students where we'll talk about some of these different subjects to understand one, what it also means to her to be studying these as far as what she's taking away from her HALT experience, and also to say that, okay, given these lessons, what will this mean to you as you leave as a leader? Going out and representing your HALT education.